Yep.
Wow. For real, babe? Just.
What were you saying?
I was just saying, like, as INFJs, we think all the time, and we're always considering every possibility, and we have to be careful on what we focus on. You know, we can't focus on like negative things, and because those negative things, if we continue to, whatever we're focusing on becomes a reality to us. And so, like, when you focus on the negative possibilities, it can create insecurities that may have something to do with maybe something you've experienced in the past, or maybe it doesn't, but it's creating this false situation in your brain that eventually, if you harp on it long enough, could create a reality in itself. And so I don't know, I think I'm just processing like being an INFJ and how we're always thinking, and while that's a good thing, we have to really be careful on what we focus on, and making sure that we're focusing on things that are going to be effective and productive in a relationship or in whatever it is that we're doing, so that we don't create these situations that really great that we don't create these situations that create monsters in the relationship, you know? I don't know. I think I'm just processing all of that. I'm full.
Monsters?
Monsters? Yeah, you can birth monsters by focusing on the wrong thing. Focusing on the wrong, your truths that may not be accurate. So you're creating these inaccurate.
I ate almost my whole salad.
I know.
You have like almost a whole salad.
I know, and because you know I don't eat a lot. I just don't eat a lot, and yeah, I haven't eaten a lot in the last couple of days actually. But anyway,
Squeeze.
I don't know where mine is. Did you steal mine?
You don't
too?
need to. No.
I don't eat my bread. He's gonna eat my bread.
Okay.
He's gonna eat my bread too. Yep, he is.
Off camera. It just flew out.
Oh yeah.
Let me see it.
Spitting food at me.
Yep.
That's funny. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
What are we talking about?
Really?
Well, you started the conversation, so I'm just trying to.
I was saying that as INFJs, we're always thinking, and we always are focusing on all of the different possibilities. And while that's a good thing, we have to be careful on that we're not shifting our focus to things that are not factual, or they're not truths, or we want to make sure we're not focusing on negative things, or that we don't shift our focus to something that could potentially create monsters in a relationship, or that maybe we're focusing on possibilities that were stem from insecurities. And so like when we do that could create situations that may not have even been possible, but because you're harping on the wrong thing, or you're focusing on the wrong thing, that you created this false situation that has now become a reality.
I mean, I think all personalities do that in some way, but for me, like, I can procrastinate because I don't I've like the whole business thing and passing out flyers and stuff. Stop. I won't. I've created this reality that we're gonna go out, pass out flyers for the company, and then nobody's gonna respond to it. And so that may be a possibility. I don't know if I'm preparing myself for the worst possible scenario, so that if I do fail, then maybe I've prepared myself for it, or if I'm talking myself out of it, I don't know. What?
I mean, I think I agree, but at the same time, it's like if you get out of your head in that manner and not focus on that negative, of people not responding. You just get out there and do it. Like, I think it's the same thing that we talk about with the whole TE function that we don't really do very, very often. It's like, if you just say what you want to say, it kind of stops those possibilities in their tracks, because you're now creating what you want to happen. It's like so it's the same thing with the flyers. It's like, if you want to go out and get your flyers and you want people to respond, well, the only way they're going to respond is if you get the flyers out. So you just got to do it. Like, you just got to go do it and not really focus on whether or not people are going to respond. It's just like, hey, I'm going to put these flyers out because this is what I want to do, and I want this business to be a reality. But in order for you to do that, you got to put yourself out there and not focus on the possibility of people not responding to the flyer. Really?
What? I mean, I've already said that. So, I mean, I agree. I mean, there's nothing to really disagree with it. It's just a matter of me trying to process and get out of my head to stop making excuses and operating more in the here and now, and just be like, okay, all right, I'm going to do it. Like, and I'm not going to worry about what the what ifs of what people may think or not think about it, or So
I think that can be hard sometimes too, though. Like, just
what's that?
getting out of your head, and because that's where we're used to being.
Oh man, this has been a challenge for me. Like, trying to start the company has been crazy. Cause, like, I mean, I think I was telling you that yesterday. I was like, man, like, having to walk through this process where, like, I'm good at it, like, operating in my intuition to try to come up with all these different ideas of what would be beneficial to people and the community and myself and the family and all that stuff like that. But then when it comes down to operating and, like, executing, this has been a struggle.
Yeah.
Because then you have to actually be like, oh man, I've gotten really used to being a visionary, but execution is not really my strong suit. And maybe later on, once the company is successful, then maybe, you know, I can kind of go back to that, the managing portion of it. But I have to, this process where I need to do stuff is interesting, because it's like a lot of times I don't feel like doing anything. I want to do it, but then I go into visionary mode where we're on the beach and we're chilling, and I have the successful company, and we're making you know $15,000, $20,000 a month, and I see all the processes that I've come up with, and like, oh, and this is working, and this person is in charge of this, and we're doing this, and blah blah blah, whatever. And then I come back to reality, and I'm like, oh man, like, yeah, that company doesn't exist yet. It exists in my head, but and it's not really a process of, like, not just like dreaming like, oh yeah, I just want to work from home, but it's like I can see this person who doesn't exist, like me calling them and them operating the company. Oh, you know, Mr. Sam or blah blah blah, like, this is a blah blah blah, you know, like whatever that may be. I see this operation of the company and how we're reaching and impacting people in the community and being able to reach people in these different ways. But then I come back to reality, and it's like, oh man. So I have all the ideas and all the structures in place to do it. It's just more about getting out of my head and doing it. So for right now, I guess we're going to be Nike people.
Just do it. Just do it. Can we say that on YouTube? Nope, we didn't say that. We're going to edit it out.
I don't know. We just got our channel up, and then we're going to get it taken down just because we said just do it.
Right?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Got it.
All right, YouTube. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.